What's up, Sparkle Babes? It's Eli here. I'm the studio manager here at the Sparkle Bar, and I am here to show you how to do a 4-minute zoom face. Super easy, super quick, but easy glam at home. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with prepping the skin, okay? So we always, before you do any makeup, you wanna really prep your skin. A good moisturizer and a good eye cream is really all you need. Definitely wash your face, but really the necessities are gonna be an eye cream and a moisturizer, okay? And keep that moisturizer handy because we're gonna be using it in other ways. So I have already went ahead and used my moisturizer today. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna prime. Now, if you don't have a primer, it's totally okay. You can move ahead to the next step, but definitely recommend a primer because a primer is only going to act like double-sided sticky tape for your makeup. So it's only gonna just make that makeup last a lot longer, especially if you have a foundation that has more of a glow to it or a shine. Any type of primer is really gonna stick it to the skin. The primer that I'm using today is a blurring primer. It's really good for men especially to use a blurring primer because a blurring primer, especially on men have larger pores, and so this blurring primer is really gonna help reduce that size. Now ladies who have larger pores, get yourself a blurring primer, and it should have like a velvety kind of texture to it, a little slip. And the best way to do that is to apply the primer is to take your 2 fingers and to really press and roll into the skin all through the T-zone. So up in your forehead area, up around the nose, deep in the nose pockets, and I always like to put it in like my little smile lines right here because it helps kind of soften it, because who doesn't love a nice smooth face, right? So now that we've done our primer, we're gonna go ahead and move to the eyes. Now, eyes really don't have to spend like too much time on them because we're on a Zoom call. It's not like we're doing a full smoky eye. So what I recommend is if you have a bronzer or any type of matte neutral tone, grab a nice little fluffy brush like so, your bronzer or whatever matte neutral tone, and just give it like a little 1-2. Always tap out the excess, and then you're literally just going to make circles all around your orbital bone. And that's it. So you can see the difference that gives me already. It gives you just some shape and some color, okay? Now, what's great is you can also use your concealer as an eye primer, and all you really have to do is take your concealer. If you really want that nice, just flat, neutral color on the eyelid, take your concealer, do just a little dot on your hand, and then taking my ring finger, I'm gonna dab a little bit right onto my eye, and what this is going to do is it's gonna just neutralize any discoloration and give me a nice clean surface to work on my eye space. And so of course now on the other eye, you'll be able to see even more of that shadow because we have primed it. So this is really why it is important to prime your eye. Now again, we're doing a Zoom call, so it's not that big of a deal, but if you know you're gonna do something after your Zoom, I would highly recommend just doing the primer. See the difference? Without primer, with primer. Ooh, ah. All right, guess what? Almost done with our eyes. So now we're gonna move on to lashes, or in Spanish, pestañas. So take a good mascara like so. Now your mascara should make a great nice little pop when you open it, okay? That's how you know it's really, really fresh and juicy and creamy. Also too, it should have a little bit of mascara on the tip. You see that? How it has all them good bits? Look at all them good bits. And an easy little thing to do that I like to do with my mascara is when I'm applying my mascara, I like to take it inward, and then as I'm taking it out, I like to slightly bend it at the end, and so it comes out like a little 7 almost. I'm gonna bend that just a little more. Boom. See that 7 shape? And then it's gonna make it really easy to apply onto your eyes, just like so. And what's great about a mascara is the darker and richer black it is, the more intensity it's going to have. So really try and get it at the root because it will create an eyeliner effect. And when you bend the wand, stick it back into the mascara because the wand that is bent, once it's back in the mascara, will scrape the walls of the mascara tube and get all of the mascara in the tube on the wand. And really get it on. Boom, look at that. And then I always like to get my bottoms because it really creates an open eye shape. Now, gentlemen, this step isn't really necessary unless you're like me and love a good long lash. Pop it on. If you don't want to, move on, okay? Another quick tip, mascara is not meant to adhere to the skin. It's only meant to adhere to hair. So if you get mascara on your face, leave it alone, brush your teeth, finish your hair, whatever, and then once it's dry, it'll flake right off and not leave any residue. Guess what? Eyes, done. Now we're gonna move on to some brows. If you have a pen or a pencil like this, these are gonna be a lifesaver, okay? What's great about products like these is they have a spoolie on one end and then the actual color on the other end. Brows should always be a cooler tone. You never want it to be too warm because then it's gonna look very fake and artificial. Now, if you don't have a pencil, you can also use any cool tone shadow that you have in a palette. And a angled brush is really great. You can even, if you just have like one of those little spoolies, you can even take a little bar of soap and rub that in there just to tame the brows. But what I like to do, because I have giant Eugene Levy eyebrows, is just kind of brush them just upward a little bit, not too crazy, but just enough. And then I only put it where my brow is lacking. So I'm literally only gonna put some right in my arch, just to give me a little bit more of an arch. And notice how I'm making tiny little Sugar Plum Fairy brush strokes. Look at the difference between this brow and this brow. How much of a little bit of product makes the biggest difference. So I'm gonna even that out on the other side. Again, just adding these little hair-like strokes where I need it on my eyebrow. You don't have to etch a sketch your whole eyebrow in. That's not what this is for. That is for a girl's night out after, you know, all of this COVID business is done with, right? So we've brushed our brows, our eyes are good, our skin is primed. Now we're gonna actually move on to complexion. Now, I highly recommend you grab a good foundation. Right now, I know that you can do color matching online. You can always come into the studio and get color matched. If you don't have a foundation, I'm gonna show you an easy little trick on how to make an at-home tinted moisturizer, okay? This will give you good coverage like a foundation, but it won't feel like really heavy on your skin, and it'll look great and glowy on camera. Fellas, this works for you too. Grab yourself a concealer that is close to your skin tone, okay? Do a little dollop on the back of your hand. Remember our moisturizer, and we're gonna mix them together. Mixing the moisturizer with the concealer is gonna break down the consistency of the concealer and make the concealer a little thinner and easier to work with. So you can see when we mix them together, it creates this really beautiful sheen and a soft kind of color to the concealer. Makes it a little bit more creamier. And then all you're gonna do is warrior paint it like you're Xena the Warrior Princess in the areas where you feel like you need it. My area is literally this little triangle right here where I need a lot of more coverage. I have really good skin everywhere else, and I have a lot of hair, so it covers my big forehead. So I don't have to worry about that. So I'm only gonna worry about the center of my face. And then I'm gonna take a foundation brush and blend. Now, you don't have to use a foundation brush if you have a sponge, a beauty blender, or your hands. Those work too. Whatever you have, use to your advantage, okay? And notice how I'm pressing this in. I'm not swiping or circling because that's gonna shear out the product. And I want to get maximum coverage with this product that I've made. So now I've kind of bounced this here, okay? So now we want to add some color back into the skin because we're just one color. That's the thing with foundation, is it tends to cancel out all of our tones. So we're gonna add those other tones back in. So I'm gonna grab a bronzer, and you wanna make sure that the bronzer is matte because that's going to give you more dimension as opposed to shine and glow. So I'm gonna take a really big kabuki brush or fluffy powder brush. All you're gonna do is circle it in the bronzer. And again, we always wanna double tap off the excess. And you're gonna smile. I always like to smile when I put on anything that's gonna go around the perimeter of my face, because then I can see how it's gonna look when I'm expressive. And I like to use my beard and my smile and cheekbone as like a guide. So my cheekbone starts up here, so if the sun were to hit me, I would get bronze right here. So notice how I'm circling it backward. It's going back into the hair and coming back forward. You never want to go down because that's going to drag the face down. We like things that go up and make us look young, youthful, and high, right? We want that chin, cheekbones to be delicious, right? Same thing on the other side. Just back, up, back, up, back, up. And then I like to take what's left and do my nose. Now, for guys, what's great is if you do almost a W across your face. Ladies, what I like to do on my female clients is accentuate the cheekbones. So right under the cheekbone and on top. And then I like to do the sides of the nose, just like that. And then just finish it off on the neck, just wherever you feel like you would get color, okay? So now we're almost done. All we have left to do is blush and lips, okay? So I'm gonna take my handy dandy liquid lip. The reason why I'm using a liquid lip is because it's gonna dry matte, okay? And not only am I gonna use it for my lips, but I'm also gonna use it for my blush. Blush is very important when you're on camera. Even guys, you can find a blush that is super, super light or steal your girlfriend's, it's totally fine. You wanna use a very small amount of this. So I'm gonna take a little pea-size amount. So taking a ring finger, we're gonna dab in that blush. And I'm gonna smile. This right here is called the apple. So I wanna bring my cheekbone up. So I'm gonna put my blush on the side of my apple. Do a little dot, and then I'm gonna blend it up and in a circle, just like we did our bronzer. And you see how it really gives you this great color and beautiful glow without it being like overkill. And you can always add a little bit more or a little less. If you feel like you got a little too much on, remember our foundation brush? Take your foundation brush and go right over it, and it'll give you this kind of blush from within. And again, we're gonna do it on the other side. Again, using our ring finger, because your ring finger has the softest skin. So it's not going to do any type of damage to your skin, whereas like your middle finger and your index finger are very callous because they get used a lot. The middle finger happens to be my favorite finger. Now what we're gonna do is take what's left on our hand, same finger, and we're literally just going to apply it on our lips. Fellas, I would recommend a chapstick, a lip conditioner, something like that. Doesn't have to be a color like I'm putting it on, just something that's gonna give you some nice hydration on camera. Ladies, anything that's close to your blush color is going to be perfect. Notice how this says like I am wearing lips, but it's not like in your face. And then last but not least, we're gonna finish with our setting spray. And boom, you ready for that zoom? We are glam and ready to do business. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe and follow us on Instagram, and make sure you book an appointment here. Call us 480-941-3438 or visit us online at www.thesparklebar.com. You already know, girl.